Hello and welcome to another Eurogamer.net video talkthrough. This week we're doing Starfox 64 3D. My name is Tom Phillips and with me today is Ollie Welsh.
Hello.
So Starfox 64 3D is the N64 game which came out about 10 years ago, remade for the 3DS with a fair number of additions and new features, quite similar to how Nintendo re-released Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And we're talking about this on the podcast this week, actually, how much the game reminded me, playing through it again, of Star Wars. The first sort of point of reference for that is this very nice scrolling title screen.
Yeah, I haven't seen these bits of art in the bottom screen. I don't even know if you'll be able to see the bottom screen in our video talk through, so perhaps I shouldn't mention it. But yeah, there's some new artwork there that I don't remember from the original game.
A lot of this is new. They've re-recorded a lot of the dialogue and the music, so a huge amount of love has gone into this.
Also bearing its name, its original name in Europe for the first time. It was called Lilac Wars, I remember, when it came out over here, which is actually an awful name. I think there was a trademark dispute over the Starfox name, but Nintendo seems to have resolved that, so we can actually call it Starfox 64.
Which makes a lot more sense than Lilac Wars.
Although the 64-bit now doesn't.
Yeah, that's just going to confuse people. So here we are. This is what you get when you turn on the game for the very first time. You can choose a control scheme, which just alternates the A, B, X, Y buttons between the four options that are there. And the up and down, which you can invert if you want. And this is your first sort of play around. And you go into the training mode, which is quite a good way to sort of show off what the 64's control scheme looks like on the 3DS.
Practice the basics.
So the very basics. Sort of Star Fox is a aerial combat game. A lot of it is about precision flying. There's various rewards you get for going through these kind of hoops in the game. One of the new features is the gyro controls, where you're steering it just by moving the 3DS. I found these enjoyable to use, but I chose not to use them a lot of the time, mainly because the game looks so good in 3D, and the 3D and the gyro controls often don't mesh very well together.
Do they work well enough though? Because, like you say, there is quite a lot of precision flying, dodging obstacles and stuff in this game.
It does work surprisingly well, actually. But if you want to enjoy the game visually to its full extent, it's very hard to keep the 3DS in the sweet spot when you're moving around. Oh, I missed one there. So you can fire using the one button, and then there's bombs which you can fire and then explode with another.
Press it again to fire a charge shot.
And then various power-ups to replenish your bomb supplies or upgrade your weapons.
You can also lock on to enemies when charging your laser.
Again, very Star Wars. This is like the run on the Death Star's exhaust port.
Yeah, even in the training level. It's basically on rails, isn't it? So it's a game in the Panzer Dragoon res mode.
50% of the time it is, and then another 50% of the time your R-wing, so not X-wing, R-wing, changes its wing position and goes into the all-range mode, which allows you to fly around in 3D space. But a lot of the game is like this. You're basically on rails going forwards. You can't sort of move more than sort of 45 degrees to your left or right, and you're being pushed onwards all the time, which sort of keeps up the pressure. You know, you have to align yourself correctly, otherwise you do find yourself being caught behind obstacles or crashing into enemies.
Press the X button to boost.
Great sound effects in this game.
Yeah, they're really, really nice. That's the other kind of maneuver there. You can boost and brake, which I think I'm going to hilariously, spectacularly fail to do through a lot of these obstacles. The game is quite forgiving. you can kind of sort of muster your way through a lot of it without too much sort of attention to what you're doing, and kind of just enjoy the experience of flying around and shooting. Another little move there is your loop, which you can use to get 2 items or 2 rings, which are located in the same sort of space, just above each other.
Have you done a barrel roll yet?
I did do a barrel roll at the beginning. They aren't that needed really in the game.
I know, but it's still a barrel roll.
I know.
So the first game, the Super Nintendo one, that was purely on rails, wasn't it?
I believe so.
Or have I misremembered? I don't think there were any dogfight sections in that one.
So various points in the mission, you'll be asked to tap the touchscreen. Rob will appear with a little message for you, something to do with the mission, or halfway through the levels usually you get a little power-up, which is usually another bomb or something.
Now moving to all.
There's a nice little element of things coming full circle with this, because I believe Q Games of Kyoto worked on this port. They did the DS's Starfox game as well.
Yes.
And they're run by a guy called Dylan Cuthbert, who used to work for Argonaut Games, which actually partnered with Nintendo on the technology for the very first Starfox.
Yeah, there's a really interesting Wata Asks with Dylan Cuthbert.
Yeah.
Basically came to Japan all by himself to sort of just follow the dream of working on a Nintendo title, which is an amazing story. So now we're in all range mode, and as you can see, you sort of go wherever you want, avoid the obstacles. You can now U-turn, so do a 180-degree flip. That's me checking to see if I can quit the training mode yet, but no, it forces you to destroy a lot of fighters before you can. But you only need to do this the one time.
Press the X button to boost.
You can aim manually, and if you hold down the fire button, you can lock on.
This training mode seems basically like a full level of the game. Why do you think it's so extensive?
I think it asks you, to try out the gyro controls, and I think it's sort of to get you sort of settled in with the game, and also for you to try out both modes of play. For people who play the original, who might not want to try out gyro controls, and for people who might sort of balk at controlling the game in such a unusual way, certainly gives you the freedom to try that and sort of customize it how you will.
You can also lock on to enemies when you're.
There's also a little raccoon guy in the bottom screen talking us through the training mode, who I don't recall from the Starfox pantheon of really memorable anthropomorphized characters at all.
He's not one of your team, no. He only appears in this opening bit.
Not Nintendo's most memorable characters, as we were saying on the podcast.
They aren't, no.
The, Fox, Slippy, Peppy, Falco.
Oh, everyone loves Falco. Well, he's a bit of a douche, but everyone loves Falco.
Yeah.
Press start and choose quick training.
Okay, so we've killed enough people that we can move on, and this starts the game properly. So this is your world map, and I'm just going to select the first level. As you can see there, the worlds are sort of organised over 3 tiers. If you play the game through the first time and don't really explore it too deeply, you'll sort of progress and complete the game in about an hour's time, which will probably scare a lot of people, and certainly scared me the first time I bought it and played it on Nintendo 64. But there's a lot of gameplay to get out of it. You find alternate exits to the levels, which then unlock the paths to the alternate worlds. And you'll be playing it for sort of 5-10 hours before you get all of them. And then there's the game's multiplayer modes to work through as well.
You will want to see all the levels as well.
Yes, some of them are beautiful. And there's a fair selection of tank-based land master levels, which move the action to the ground.
All systems go.
There's not too many of them. So this is again very, very Star Wars. This is like
All our members of the team checking in.
yeah,
That was Falco, Peppy, and Slippy.
Red 5. And they've attacked their. They've set their attack foils and S foils in attack position. Off we go.
I'm really amazed. No, I haven't played this game, but I've played the Ocarina of Time remake. I'm really surprised by how good they look, considering how old the originals are and the hardware they were running on first time.
Yeah, it looks a lot better than the N64 originals. With Zelda, it was quite easy to kind of forget how much work had been put into them, because you kind of view the originals with rose-tinted glasses, I think. But this even more so. You can see a lot of work's been done. All of these explosions and the reflections as you were skimming along the water, just really, really nice. Probably the best looking 3DS game that I played. So these gold rings restore health, and if you collect 3 of them, they upgrade your fighter.
So what are the kind of things you need to do in order to get different routes open up?
Well, we will be seeing the first alternate route. Wow, I just wasn't looking at the screen then. I think my mobile went off.
Do a barrel roll.
I should have done a barrel roll. For the first level, what you need, the things to unlock the first alternate level are: make sure that none of your wingmen die, which is fairly easy enough. As you can see, there's one of them up on the right there, and they're being chased. So you have to clear out all the enemies that are on their tail, make sure they don't get taken down. And that's kind of a requisite for a lot of the alternate levels, opening them up. There we go, he's safe. And Falco gives a sort of a mean kind of, yeah, thank you. 'Cause that's Falco. And also the second requirement is on this level to fly through a set of rocky hoops, which we'll see in a bit.
It's funny, I haven't played this game in, 8 years or something, and the entire level is basically completely in my memory. Watching it again now, I can predict every single enemy move. It's so satisfying, the timing in this game. I always think, like, just the way they've timed the obstacles and the enemies, and used those with the various moves you can do, and the boosting and the braking and so on. It's really, really well put together. Oh yeah, here we go.
So this is the alternate route. If you let one of your fellow pilots die, or had missed one of those rocky rings, then you would have gone on and defeated a separate boss, so the secret one, which we're about to face here. This is a very strange... I'm not even sure what he's supposed to be. Some kind of lizard?
Incoming enemy from the rear.
Nintendo weren't clear.
I think he's Slippy's evil twin. He does look a bit like Baron Greenback in... this whole thing kind of reminds me of Danger Mouse, to be honest. I don't really know why. Something about the character design. Less charming, obviously.
Boss battles are usually fairly simple. There's usually a weak point you can attack for massive damage. And these are these 3 handily red-coloured appendages on the mech.
See if you can handle this.
What are the rings we keep seeing?
They restore your health. They're given out quite generously in the opening levels, and then become sparser as the levels progress.
Have they changed the difficulty at all from the original game?
Do you know, it's so long ago. I really should have played the original more recently, but alas, my N64 is no longer alive. It feels about the same. I don't know. I played the original an awful lot, so I think people who are experienced with that won't find this much trouble. Certainly the initial levels. Later on, it gets more difficult. And there we go. That's the end of the first level. We'll take you through one more, which is the alternate level 2. At the end of each level, you get a little report from all of the guys who made it. All of mine did, which is pleasing.
I'm fine. You okay over there?
Basically, you're not, once you've picked an alternate route, you're not locked into that route. You can still kind of get bumped back to the original route, can't you, if I recall?
Yes. So for instance, in this next level, if you complete it and you don't go down that level's special route, then you get pushed back to the original sort of tier of levels that you would need to find the. In fact, I think this one just has 2 exits. Yeah, so you can get bumped back down. You would go back to what would be the original second one if you failed.
Oh, Sector Y. I remember this. Sector Y, Sector X, and Sector Z. They're very mysterious.
These are some of the early ones. Don't show off the graphics as much as some of the later ones are really stunning. I can't remember what the name of the level is, but the one where you're going around, it's like a sun, and the arcs of solar flares flying around your ship are just really make use of the system's 3D capabilities. Your R-wing against the backdrop of space really stands out.
Something you can't really experience as you're only seeing the left eye.
Unfortunately,
on our website.
Eurogamer 3D has yet to materialise.
We did have a conversation about it. I think it only lasted 5 minutes, but there was a conversation. What I remember as being my single favourite thing about Starfox is the sound effect of the lasers as you level them up, as you pick up the weapon upgrades. Amazingly satisfying. And like you say, very, very influenced on Star Wars. There's huge amounts of echo on these zapping noises.
It's really nice to see Starfox back in 3D, and I mean, there's a certain amount of talk that they could have made a new Starfox game, but I think 64 deserves another outing, like Ocarina of Time. In fact, more so because this is the first time that a lot of people will be seeing the game, and it does showcase the 3DS's system capabilities so well. Yeah, it's just lovely to see it back. Not a dinosaur in sight.
Does it work well as a handheld game?
Yeah, very much so. It's really suited to sort of this pick up and play. The levels are all sort of 5-10 minutes long, perfect for journeys on the tube or the bus or whatever. And the multiplayer functions work very well too. It's a great candidate for wireless multiplayer. Unfortunately, no online. It is just local. But
it's a bit of a shame. Where's that?
It is. I'm not sure. It's a bit puzzling. Nintendo still really don't seem to have got their head on online 3DS. The Pokemon game coming out in December, which you would think is a great candidate for online battling, that too is offline.
No, really?
Really?
That is a problem.
But Mario Kart is online.
Yeah. Great sense of scale to these battles with the huge ships.
Yeah, and all rendered really, really nicely. The 3DS doesn't struggle once.
Well, you'd hope not with a Nintendo 64 game.
So here we are coming up to the end of the second level here, or the alternate second level I should say, and this level's boss. We're switching to all range mode for it again. It's just like an X-Wing.
Enemy shield analyzed.
I wonder if one of the reasons we didn't see more sequels to Star Fox is that Nintendo got its relationship with the Rogue Squadron games. They were big on Nintendo consoles.
They were. I remember the GameCube launch title. Was it Rogue Squadron 2? Lovely.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, got a lot more attention than Luigi's Mansion at the time. So, are you taking out these mechs here in advance of a boss fight? Or?
Yes. So these are kind of his minions, and now they're dispatched. Combat robot Shogun has appeared. He's a bit of a Japanese caricature. He talks about sort of defending his emperor. and then when you defeat him, he apologises for failing him.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It's kind of, you know, a Japanese Nintendo take on Star Wars, mixed in with some Thunderbirds. There was a really interesting sort of tale come out of another Iwata Asks recently, where they sort of, I think it was the one with Dylan Cuthbert, where they were talking about how the reason that the characters' mouths move up and down is because Miyamoto, I think, was a fan of Thunderbirds and wanted a Jerry Anderson marionation series based off of Starfox.
Really?
And they were planning for it to happen, and they tried to pitch it, but it never did. But
yeah, I don't think these characters are really in Jerry Anderson's style, are they?
No, they're not really.
They don't look enough like they've stepped out of a 1974 sitcom.
We're heading for Aquas.
And we're heading for Aquas. Report in. You brought them all home safely. Well done.
Yes.
I remembered being a little bit annoyed when I got into the all-range mode sections because I preferred the on-rail stuff. Is that consistent with what you feel about it?
I think it's a lot faster and a lot more immediate when you're on rails. The all-range stuff is fun. It makes a nice change, but often you spend a lot of time searching for the enemies and not enough time actually engaging them. There's quite a wide sort of area to get through when you're playing in all-range mode. So let's leave it here. This was Starfox 64 3D. It's out now on 3DS.